Hey everyone, welcome down to the podcast, and first of all, a huge shout out to the sponsors of this episode and good friends of the Rough Cut Golf podcast, NordVPN. And boy oh boy, do we have a deal for you today. If you sign up for a 2-year NordVPN plan, you will get 4 months for free. And to access that, all you need to go is www.nordvpn.com/roughcut.
That was so succinct and easy to for you to produce. Very much like the ease of using NordVPN, Jacob Broadbridge. All you do, you click the country that you want to be in. It doesn't fly you there, but it tells your computer that's where you are, which means that when we're in America and I want to catch up on things that are happening in UK TV, boom, tell it I'm in England, boom. BBC's available.
There's like a fairly significant golfing event coming up soon that I would really hate all of our listeners not be able to watch if they were abroad. So get yourself prepared with Nord.
Definitely.
Are you talking about the one with the cup?
Yeah.
It's got that person on the top.
Yeah. You might know what it's on about. But NordVPN, seriously, they've been a great channel partner. They've supported the podcast. And if you do want a VPN, make sure you go check out Nord, because they're our friends and you're our friends and we like friends to all stick together.
Should we do the podcast?
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Wonderful. Now, are you going to do your normal intro?
Yeah.
Sometimes golf is a pain in the butt. You hit your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us. 'Cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Welcome down to the Rough Cut Golf podcast, where we are just moments away in the grand cosmic scheme of things from the Ryder Cup. And boy, oh boy, are we excited about what is to come. So, Ryder Cup comes around every 2 years. It's the most watched golf event in the world, but you might not know where it started. You may not be aware of the origins, the seed that grew into this mighty tree we call the Ryder Cup. And that is what we are going to be exploring today. We, mostly Mick and the guys, have put together a history of the Ryder Cup and answering some of the questions that you might not have even thought about asking. That is what we're going to delve into today, to give you a better understanding of this event, which we all absolutely love.
Yeah, it is an iconic event. And what I wanted to do was to just delve a little deeper into where it came from in the first place, because it's very nice talking about what's about to happen in 2 weeks' time, but it has even more weight and even more gravity when you understand the origins of what we're about to watch. Can you tell me your favorite Ryder Cup story as quickly as possible?
I mean, story or like memory? Or
Memory of watching, memory of, hearing, being there. What's your favorite bit?
I mean, I must admit, I went to the Ryder Cup last year. I think, personally, my favorite memory is to sneak into the European after party afterwards, which was incredible to be a part of. To be part of that, to be managing to get into that event, which was kind of weird, but at the same time, it was really, really nice. And kind of, we've done stuff with the players, so mingling with them, saying congratulations. Meeting the Højgaard's family.
Wow.
Dad watches a lot of stuff. He's a pilot.
Wow.
Yeah. Weirdly loud and unhealth and safety conscious fireworks going on.
Good.
Which was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And a great buffet. And then a scooter home through the streets of Rome.
Okay, beat that.
Yeah, that's hard to follow.
That's going to be a tough one.
I think for me, it maybe not like it's not like the best moment, but in terms of like a vivid Ryder Cup memory, was the first and only one I went to, which was at Celtic Manor in 2010. And I can't remember the hole, but it was a par 4, and you could either drive to the green through a gap in the trees, or you hit to the fairway left and it kind of like cambers round to the right. And Tiger Woods teed off and his ball landed as far as me and you.
Wow.
So me with my grandpa and my dad stood basically like enclosed in by the security, but him being touchable.
Yeah.
And seeing Tiger Woods like for the first time in the flesh.
Wow.
That was my that's definitely stuck with me.
A man who doesn't have a very good record in the Ryder Cup, but still must have been incredible. To
Oh yeah, absolutely.
be that close to him.
The other vivid memory is just how wet it was. To be honest, it was like a bog.
It just always rains there.
It does, yeah.
It
Well,
always rains.
welcome to Wales.
I would say I've not been to the Ryder Cup, but definitely Saturday of Medina, Ian Poulter in the pink, really nice pink.
Yeah.
Just going on that tear, the last 6 holes, birdie and 6 in a row. Well, they
Yeah,
won
6
6 holes in a
yeah,
row.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was a vivid memory with Rory as well.
Yeah. Wild. It's interesting you mentioned wet, because we're going to get to a very wet Ryder Cup later in this episode.
Okay.
But we're going to start out with the man behind the Ryder Cup, Mr. Samuel Ryder. Samuel Ryder was not born into the world of professional golf, nor was he a patron of the game from birth. He took up golf at the age of 50. So it's never too late. It's never too late to take up a new hobby.
Never too late to found a globe-spanning golf event.
Yeah. Instead, his journey began in humble surroundings in the north of England, and it was only later in life that he would become synonymous with one of the game's most prestigious events. He was born March 24th, 1858.
That's a long time.
In Walton le Dale, near Preston, Lancashire. Tell us about Walton le Dale. Peter's from Preston, so tell us.
It's just like a little village just outside of Preston, but it's kind of one of those places where Preston and the village have grown out to practically meet each
Right,
other.
okay,
now.
cool.
Yeah, so I don't think it was it's not the charming hamlet that it used to be.
Okay.
When Samuel Ryder,
the Ryder Cup.
what his friends called him, was born into this world.
Just an Australian saying his name.
Ryder.
Ryder.
It's just a little place down by the river. Yeah, it's quite nice. Got a good pub.
Yeah. Well, they probably spent a lot of time in that pub. Ryder was one of 8 children.
Oh wow.
His dad was a gardener, and his mother was
She was a dressmaker.
She was a dressmaker. And Ryder went to college at Owens College, which is now known as Victoria University in Manchester. The links to Manchester and the north of England are going to become even weirder later on. And in fact, in his early 20s, he moved to St Albans, which is down in the south, which is just north of Watford.
Yeah.
Basically where the north begins. If you're kind of...
If you're from London.
If you're from London, that's where the north begins. There he began a career in seeds. Peter Finch. Peter's so excited about the seed
Any
industry.
particular seeds or?
Well, I'll tell you, an industry that would bring him both financial success and an avenue into sports sponsorship. Ryder revolutionized the sale of garden seeds by introducing affordable penny seed packets, allowing the working class to cultivate their own gardens. His company, Ryder & Sons, flourished, making him a very wealthy man by the early 20th century. Now, if you were going to start a small packet sales business, what would be in your small packets? I'm doing golf tees, 5 like really well-crafted wooden golf tees with rings around them, so you know how far to put them in the ground. Talk to me.
Okay. Ooh. Like a little pocket thing you can just what's like a daily kind of, you need it, it's there at close proximity, something you...
Sewing kit.
Sewing kit's good, but there must be a sewing kit thing. I don't know.
Like, just how big are the packets? Just like little small
I'm
packs.
going, Pokemon card size.
Right. So small packets.
Yeah. You could do
which I can sell quickly in the city.
Yeah.
Maybe
to the late night scene.
I've got a few ideas.
So very good. There is no drug abuse in this episode.
Did Samuel Ryder sell opium seeds?
He did not.
No.
It was only by chance that Ryder ever became interested in golf. He played cricket in his younger days, and he was a spin bowler.
Is it me?
He lived near Old Trafford Cricket Ground, which is almost exactly
Is it me?
where me and Kieran lived. He was an avid supporter of Lancashire County. You know Sport Lancs.
It is me.
No, but at the,
Not
age of 50, he had a breakdown in health and an injury, which meant no more runs.
No more runs.
His Trinity Church minister and friend, Reverend Frank Wheeler, suggested a remedy. And could you do an old British man's voice, please, and read this out?
This bit here.
Yeah.
What you need is fresh air and exercise. Come out with me on the golf course and hit a few balls.
I imagine that's what Frank Wheeler sounded like when he suggested.
He was in the room.
Yeah.
In all fairness, Frank Wheeler sounds like the most northern man in the world.
my
so
God.
he's probably
Yeah,
quite
100%,
northern.
yeah.
Come
Ryder-
out, up,
Come out and hit a
few
few balls with me.
balls.
Hey, Cocker,
Gets
you
out
stick
in-
with me, son.
Get in fresh air, love.
I'll do you.
Anyway, Ryder quickly found himself entranced by the challenge of the game. The crisp sound of a well-struck shot, a whisper of the wind over the grass, the camaraderie among fellow players, it all struck a chord with him. Golf, he realised, was more than just a pastime. It was a test of character, of patience and determination. So he had private lessons at his Hertfordshire mansion before deciding he was ready to join a club. He then joined Verulam Club in 1909.
Okay. Are we good with Verulam, Pete?
Verulam.
In Hertfordshire, yeah? I'm guessing.
In Hertfordshire.
Lovely.
Wow, they do things differently down there.
They
don't
do.
Just
Verulam.
make up words.
Yeah.
And then
And
Verulam.
2 years later, so having just picked up the game, in 2 years later, proved his ability as a player and became the captain at the club,
Okay.
which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
He would also then be reappointed captain in 1926 and 1927. We're going to come back to 1927 in a minute. As a businessman, Ryder was always looking for ways to invest and promote the things he loved. His interest in professional golf was particularly influenced by watching British golfers struggle financially. Unlike amateurs, professionals had very little institutional support. I don't understand why the professionals weren't helped and the amateurs were. So can you explain what the heck that situation was about?
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, golf was seen as a gentleman's sport, still is seen as a gentleman's sport, but to be a professional was seen as ungentlemanly. So it's like you should play golf for the love of the game, and if you were a elite amateur, like a Bobby Jones of this world,
Yeah.
that was seen as the highest honor that you could have because you were playing the game, you were amazing at it, and you weren't doing it for money. If you turned professional
right,
and did
yeah.
it for cash, it was uncouth. It was just not welcomed certainly within Britain.
Yeah.
I mean, and the posh country clubs of the US as well. It was a strange time to think that now, if you look at a professional golfer, you see that as the peak of the sport. Whereas back then, it was seen as something dirty. It was seen as something which shouldn't be. You know, it was seen as uncouth.
So were the original golfers, the Tom Morrises and, you know, the original players of the game, were they all amateurs?
No, they weren't.
So there were some people who were and some people who weren't.
Yeah, it basically within, and it's not the case anymore. I'm pretty sure across all sports, the amateur status and pro status is kind of blurred. In golf, it is defining line of if you earn money. So it's the whole thing of like if you win a hole in one prize, if it's cash, if you want to accept it, like you turn pro.
What?
So it's still a kind of a weird thing, but yeah, it used to be the fact that the Olympics, for example, you couldn't compete in the Olympics if you were a professional.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and that just isn't the case anymore. So that dividing line between amateur and professional sports and the aspiration to be a professional sportsman is now really at the forefront of anyone's mind.
Yeah.
If they want to get good in sport. If you want to get good in sport, you want to be a top pro.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a great amateur.
Yeah.
So
And there have been recent examples of amateurs playing so well in pro tour events that they had won money, but then couldn't accept the money because they were still technically amateur.
Well, Nick Dunlap's one of those.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
yeah.
what does it feel like Shane Lowry when he won the
Irish,
Irish?
2009.
You're a professional golfer. You're allowed to win money.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but like theoretically, I
Pete,
can.
Pete, you are allowed to win money, you know that, right?
the way I just avoid it at all costs.
Keeping up the amateur spirit.
Do you know how much money you won at Marple the other day?
I think I won £70.
You won £83.
83.
£83 at Marple.
Wow, after tax. After tax, that's 40 quid.
Right, back to Samuel Ryder. Beyond golf, Ryder was an active philanthropist. Easy for me to say.
So it's early in the morning.
A devout Christian and a prominent figure in St Albans civic life. He served as mayor of the town in 1905, supported various charitable initiatives, and was known for his generosity. He was also an active member of the Congregational Church, where he often spoke about the virtues of honesty and fair play, values that would later define the Ryder Cup. Right, you're the mayor of a small city/town.
Okay.
Imagine it.
Yep.
What? With a
bell.
right? Okay. Yeah. Town crier.
Town crier.
Yeah, love it. What rules are you implementing on your first day?
Okay. I'm in St Albans. I'm thinking it's
St
like...
Albans is a lovely town.
Yeah. I think I have been.
It's great. Shout out STA.
I'm immediately making... Church starts at like midday.
Yeah.
Lions all round.
No getting out of bed.
No getting out of beds.
Yeah.
Everything opens and Keys stays open late. We're not having 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
This just tells you exactly about Jacob.
Spanish town.
Yeah. I'm making St Albans Spanish. I'm gonna have to change the weather somehow. I don't know how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But everything is staying open. Little siestas. You know what I'm making? I'm making it Spanish.
Yeah, a lot of tapas.
St. Albans.
Good lord. It sounded Mexican. I don't know why.
I don't know why it was Mexican.
Kieran?
I don't. Oh god.
Straight out the gate. You get there on the first day, like, oh, Mr. Mulhall, here's your giant, great big necklace that you have to wear as the mayor. Like, what things would you like us to do, like, straight away?
Oh god, it's tough.
Hey, listen, being in a position of power is often it comes with great responsibility.
Yeah.
So.
I'd say that. Oh god, everything has to open. Yeah. Well, I would say everything has to be open all the time. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Everything. I don't know,
Everything's 24
St.
hours.
Albans has gone for a real transitional period between the two.
Yeah, you're going to have another town. Like, what's the nearby town to St. Albans? What's that? Slough. You can have Slough.
Beaconsfield.
You can have Beaconsfield.
Beaconsfield's got a lovely model village.
Yes, I was going to say it has a nice service.
It does have a really good services.
So it's going to be a 24-hour town.
Yeah.
So you've turned it into a Spanish
Yep.
town.
Yeah.
Spanish fiesta.
Kieran's turned his into New York.
Yeah.
It doesn't sleep.
Nothing
It
closes.
doesn't sleep.
Yeah,
It doesn't sleep.
Peter
Respect
Finch,
it.
what's going in on day one?
I'm going to build a wall.
Good lord.
I'm gonna turn mine into more of a principality than a town.
Yeah, like a Monaco.
Yeah. All of a sudden, like overnight, it's going to be like declaring independence. Where that place
Tax
is?
haven.
What's the place in the middle of South Africa that's like?
Oh,
Eswatini?
Eswatini.
Yeah, Eswatini. Yeah.
Love that.
So turn into a Spanish town.
Lesotho. I can never remember which.
Both of them are inside
Yeah.
South Africa.
Yeah. So that's going to be me, the Vatican of the UK.
You're making yourself the Pope.
Yeah, it's going to be a religion dedicated to golf as well.
Pope Peter II. Or...
Yeah.
He's making his own Vatican.
It's just going to be I'm going to flatten the entire town, build a wall, have all the houses around the outside, and just golf courses in the middle. I'm going to have a 98-hole complex in the middle, and right in the centre, 360-degree driving range.
Oh god!
And in the centre of that, I'm going like a donut shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be like the putting green, and in the centre of that is going to be the clubhouse.
Can everyone like just come out from their houses and just like hit into the middle?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's just like
that's
Into
such a
Mecca.
good idea.
Yeah. Like the cross-country golf tournament we have every year is insane. It is incredible. And the clubhouse is going to be St. Peter's as well. It's going to have a big dome on the top.
God.
Yeah, it's going to have simulators.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be
so smart.
It's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow, I honestly don't
that
know.
I've thought about it.
Yeah. I don't know
clearly-
why
yeah,
you have
you-
so much detail already in your brain. God. Right, let's talk about the state of international golf before 1927, when the first Ryder Cup happened. Basically, there wasn't any. National championships like the Open Championship and the US Open. The Open obviously founded in
1870.
1860. And the US Open was founded in
1861.
1895. However, there was no structured team competition between countries. By the 1910s and 1920s, professional golf in America had become a lucrative career. So you could go and make money by winning golf tournaments. However, in Britain, golf professionals still struggled, often having to work as club pros and coaches rather than being full-time touring players. So there was a lot of Mars bars. There was a lot of keep your left arm straight.
Yeah, back in the day, I don't think back in the day probably would have been allowed in the clubhouse either.
Really?
As pros, yeah.
Yeah, because you're just you're an employee.
And like tournaments were a big thing, but the biggest thing back then was money matches.
Right. Yeah. So
like pros played each other,
yeah.
or like
Hagen and what's his name would play each other for.
and like exhibition. So American Samuel Ryder would, invite Henry Ford would invite, Bobby Jones, and times are all mixed up. This is definitely not the same time period. But they would invite Walter Hagen and I don't know, the British pro, Jim Barnes, whatever. They'd come over, they'd play a money match as an exhibition, as a club, and then the winner would take all.
So, when you were sort of doing that story that Walter Hagen would eat like caviar and prosecco outside the Prince's Clubhouse, that's because he wasn't allowed.
It wasn't allowed in the clubhouse.
Because he was a pro. Oh right, okay, I didn't. Yeah.
What is that story? Tell us that story again.
So Walter Hagen.
He's a good golfer.
I was struggling. I need my daily greens.
The wrestler.
Walter Hogan.
Hulk's brother. When he was competing at the Open at Royal Singh Ports, he wasn't allowed in the clubhouse because of his professional status.
Yeah, didn't have the right socks.
Yeah, so he hired a massive car and just stocked it out as a clubhouse. And he put champagne in there and caviar in there and just got changed and had this amazing time in the car park. And it was seen as an act of defiance, but also I'm a professional golfer. This is how I live.
Yeah.
Would you rather be in there with those guys? Or would you rather be out here with me?
Yeah, pop.
Yeah. And it was seen as one of those things and Walt Hagen in his career was a professional who elevated the position of being a professional to the point where it started to become an acceptable career, acceptable venture.
Got you. So we're skipping ahead slightly, but in 1921, the first unofficial international matches happened, right? Glen Eagles in Scotland, a group of top US professionals, including Walter Hagen and Jock Hutchinson, played a team of British professionals. This event, organised by the Times newspaper, was a friendly match designed to test the test of British strength against American players in the lead up to the Open. The British team won.
Oh,
wow. Kind of makes sense.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well done. 1926, the year before the first Ryder Cup, at Wentworth.
Oh.
Where you're about to go today. Another informal match between Great Britain and the United States played just before the Open, which the Open in that year was played at Royal Lytham St Anne's. This match was far more competitive and attracted significant public interest. Samuel Ryder goes, he was at the event. This sounds like something we could definitely make a real tournament out of. So, despite the friendly competitions, no official international tournament existed regularly to pit the best golfers from the US against the best golfers from Britain. It was against this backdrop that Ryder, driven by his love of golf and the belief in fostering international competition, took it upon himself to create what would become the Ryder Cup. Naming a tournament after yourself, how do we feel about that?
I think it's egotistical, let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
It's a real shock, but it's fine now, and
It just works, doesn't it? Like
it's one of those where, like, I remember when we went through this of when I say it wasn't a very successful band, but when I was in a band, of picking a name and you say the name and it's like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
But then you think about it and you go, surely Coldplay was sat there going, this doesn't sound very good.
Yeah.
Like
the Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah,
it
like,
sounds like a ridiculous name.
it's great name.
like, it's obviously like time can only allow that. Like when the Ryder Cup started, I mean, he probably loved it, but like right now, the Broadbridge Cup, that ain't doing anything. That's not a good name.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful. That's too many syllables in it. That's not working. But give it 50 years, who knows?
Yeah.
But also we don't know this, I don't believe, kind of from the research as well. It may be the fact that he brought this all together and somebody else said, we should call this the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So you don't know. I mean, we don't know. I mean, Sam Ryder, by the sounds of it, sounds like a pretty legendary guy. So.
Well, yeah.
It sounds like he doesn't sleep.
Yeah,
Like, he's just
busy dominating
Yeah.
the seed industry. Bam. Golf. Bam.
Mayor.
So those little
Man.
packets he was selling.
Good Lord. Anyway, Ryder decided to put his money where his passion was. He commissioned the creation of the now famous gold Ryder Cup trophy, standing 17 inches tall and weighing around 4 pounds. Featuring a golfer on top, widely believed, Kieran, to be modelled after British professional Abe Mitchell.
Abe Mitchell, yeah.
What's the story about Dorset? Because Kieran's from Dorset, so there's got to be a Dorset connection here.
There's a local story.
What's the story about who he met and how he knew Abe Mitchell?
So he used to go on holiday down in Dorset every single year at Came Down Golf Club, and their slogan is when you go into the course, this is the birthplace of the Ryder Cup. So in my early days, I was under the impression that it started there. And then as you do a little bit more research, he basically was asking the local pro there, Whitcomb, I believe his name was, surname, and just saying, like, can you, do you play any of the big tournaments? Do you play in the Open Championship, all this sort of stuff? And he said, no, I can't do it because it would cost me money to go and go to the events. And he was obviously, Ryder was kind of seeing that from the American side, they were coming over, all posh and dressed swanky and
that's Kieran's posh move.
Exactly,
If you're only listening, Kieran just jostled in his chair like a lad.
And the British pros were not. So it was he wanted to come up with an idea of how you could bring that closer and make the pros and who are very talented as good as the Americans.
Yeah, excellent. I think this is probably something that's going to come up later on as well when we start to get to like Jacqueline and that kind of era.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, because that didn't actually change until the 80s. The British players were still struggling to keep up with the Americans because of a little-known world event called World War II. And we're going to get to that in a little minute. First of all, we're going to talk about the inaugural Ryder Cup. In June 1927 at Worcester Country Club in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You lot went.
We did.
How was it?
Video coming soon.
Hang on.
No, video will be out.
Is it, oh, yeah.
It's out next week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it was, you know what? I have to admit, I've not played many classical American parkland courses. Like most of the time when we go to the States, apart from this year, it's always during the down months in the UK where the weather's bad. So we go to Florida, we go to California, Arizona. Not actually being over in the summer to like Massachusetts, like East Coast, and played New York kind of area, played those classic American parklands. And that's what Worcester is. And they just had a massive renovation to return it back to what it used to be like. And they're trying to get some big events back there as well, because it's held the US Open as well. And you know what? It was just really good. It's quite a pleasant golf course.
Okay.
Is probably the best way of describing it. Fairways relatively wide, really cool bunkering, massive greens, wooden flags, old school clubhouse with a bowling alley in it.
Of course.
It was just a really nice atmosphere. Like if you were a member there, it would have been fantastic.
Could you see a Ryder Cup going back there? Because, I don't know if you know this, but we're coming up to the 100th anniversary of the Ryder Cup.
It's too small.
Too small to host the event now.
Yeah, I mean, back then, you could understand how it would work. You know, the problem, I don't know. I wasn't there. I've not seen the pictures. I doubt there was 200,000 people coming through the door.
Well, I'll give you some information. 1987, on the final day, there were 1,000 patrons.
Wow.
So that tells
Not
you how
quite
many.
the same.
That tells you how many people were going to watch the event.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't even fully televised until 1991.
Yeah.
They showed 2 hours on a Sunday of the Ryder Cup up until between 81 and 87.
Yeah, and I know we're jumping around a little bit, but the war on the shore, the one at Keir Island that stretched kind of well into the night because of like weather, that was the first time that golf hit prime time. Because I think NBC maybe.
Yes, they have had the contract for a very long time.
Yeah, they decided, they said they were going to like cut away to some, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger film or something. And they said, no, this is going to be good. We will keep it on. So all of a sudden the Ryder Cup got shown to millions more people who turned on the TV expecting something else. And like,
Where's my film?
Like, what is this? And then they got to see this dramatic finish, the lightning lancing down in the background with Halo and coming up the last and Langer. So yeah, anyway. Please carry on.
So let's talk about the 1927 Ryder Cup. When you were there, did you see any plaques? Did you see any notifications of where you were? Like, what was the history situation?
No, in the clubhouse, kind of like the final row of lockers before you go through to where like the bowling alley and stuff is, they've kept the lockers. So either side, you've got the American team, the GB&I team.
Wow. They were just Britain at the time.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. With all the little plaques of like who had them and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And obviously, like there's members there who now share a locker with these
Walter
players.
Hagen.
It's like
Walter Hagen, Ted Ray.
That's quite cool.
Did you film all this? Were we allowed to film this?
I don't think we could. No.
I think I might have got that on my phone.
You maybe got on your phone.
I got it on
Yeah.
my phone.
Yeah.
We'll try and slip it in somewhere.
That's cool.
So yes, the financial backing that Samuel Ryder provided it gave the kind of the tournament its first feat. Basically, Walter Hagen was the captain of the US team. George Duncan was the captain of the British team, a golfer I'd never heard of. The event featured 2 teams of 10 players competing in 4 foursomes matches and 8 singles matches. So what does that tell you? Someone doesn't get to play, which is not good. The Americans, led by Hagen, dominated, winning 9.5 to 2.5. God, that's tough. British golfers, many of whom were still club professionals rather than full-time touring players, struggled on the challenging course. Can you imagine struggling on that course with those older clubs? And
I mean, me personally, no. But
yeah.
I can see how they would struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. We have watched you play with hickories recently, and you were bloody good, to be fair.
I'm unreal. I'm elite.
Were they still hickories at that point? Was it?
Definitely.
It was.
full
It
time,
was. Was
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Full on,
Yeah. Right.
So, fun fact about the Ryder Cup in 1927, Samuel Ryder didn't go. He was in poor health.
It's a power move.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like,
I've done.
I'll give you your money. I'll give you your trophy.
Yeah, go and
Just
play for this trophy in
get on with it.
Massachusetts.
Named after me.
Yeah.
In my honour, go and play.
He was
Seeds everywhere.
planted the course.
Packets everywhere.
He was ill, and his doctor said he wasn't allowed to travel. And it's a kind of, definitely a long ship to get to the US from here at the time. So he didn't even go to the tournament. But despite the one-sided outcome, the first Ryder Cup was hailed as a great success. And it was decided that the event should be played every 2 years, alternating between courses in the US and in Great Britain. Samuel Ryder, already in declining health by this time, had realized his vision of fostering international golf competition. He remained a devoted supporter of the event until his passing in 1936. What happened just after 1936?
Hang on. I'm going to go back to school. Hang on.
Let's talk about 1939.
There's a date. That rings a bell. Something happened then.
Something happened that might have changed the state of golf in the world.
Yeah, kind of kiboshed the dream of international golf competition.
Yeah, and international relationships.
Yeah,
Just
so-
a little bit. It's tough to travel over to the US when your ship is going to get blown up by a mile.
Yeah. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 brought the world of golf, much like daily life, to a sudden and jarring halt. Across Europe and North America, golf courses that had once echoed with the sound of well-struck drives and the murmur of spectators fell silent. Many were transformed for war-related purposes, while professional tournaments, including the Ryder Cup, were put on indefinite hold. We went to a golf course that was transformed or even requisitioned during the war at Royal St. Port's and Prince's and Royal St. George's, I believe, as well. Do you want to tell the story of what happened when we came up to that par 3? Is it the 15th at Royal St. Port's?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, Royal St. Paul's we were playing, and we'd noticed that there was a police officer on the golf course as we kind of walked around. He was just standing there talking to one of the members of staff at Royal St. Paul's. And we're, that's a bit weird. And we got round to that hole and said, you can still play the hole, but we're going to have to ask you to walk, kind of like take a detour effectively around this big bunker because there's a suspected unexploded World War II munitions poking out of it.
It's crazy.
So bomb squads come in, and
It was like, bomb squad's coming at 7, so can you just...
swatting.
it kind of sounded like the call had gone in and bomb squad had this too many times.
Yeah.
They're like,
Oh, God. We can get to you about,
Dave, they found another bomb at Singport. Probably a bit of metal, mate. What time you got? 7? Having your soup? Right, we'll get there 7, yeah. No.
They just get there, no bomb gear, just pull it out. Look at it, it's a piece of old
All right, we'll be
junk.
at 7. Don't step on it. Don't pull it out.
Don't let any golfers hit it.
Yeah, just keep those golfers away. It'll be all right.
Yeah, if you'd have topped your tee shot as well, we would have been in real trouble because it was right between you and the flag. Boom. Yeah, I kept the camera rolling just in case.
That'd have been a social content.
So like, how did it come about that they found this bomb?
It's one of those areas where because it was used for, I'm pretty sure Sinkports and Princes, they were both used as like training bases.
Practice, yeah.
Well, more Princes, wasn't it, for RAF, but also as kind of the Germans left and they had unused bombs, they just used to dump them.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of the areas where they kind of dumped them.
But that's obviously been there for 70 years.
Yeah.
And
just uncovered by the elements.
Crazy, yeah.
And there will be hundreds more probably.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. Like in kind of slightly off topic, one of Carly's friends in their flat, they were having a wall redone in their garden, and they found like a proper World War II bomb,
Sick.
unexploded. So they had to close the streets down. They had
Can
to
you
come
imagine
in.
if it goes off?
Oh,
Well, like sometimes when they find them, they're that big that they can't explode them. Like they have to like carefully lift them out. A few years ago, where was it? It was down south somewhere where they had to load it onto the back of a truck and drive it out of the town because it was so condensed and packed that if it went off, it'd just destroy like dozens of houses.
Mad.
It's wild.
Yeah, so lots of courses were taken over by the military. Royal Birkdale and Royal Lytham were converted into training grounds where soldiers practice, battlefield maneuvers. Others, and particularly in rural areas, they were kind of ploughed over. So those courses are just gone and they just grew stuff on them instead.
They also used to, especially ones by the coast, they used to plough the fairways just because like they didn't want enemy planes to be able to land.
Oh, that's smart.
Kind of sucks though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine me, you greenkeeper in the
yeah,
army.
just watching this.
The army turns up and says, I'm so sorry. We've got to
Stimp
plough
on,
it.
his stimp on that's 14, mate. You're not ploughing it. You know how hard we worked on that.
How gutted would you be?
Yeah, imagine you get there as a member and you're like, bloody hell, I thought maintenance week was next week.
Yeah. Oh,
It's a big maintenance.
the greens. What's going on here?
Holotime the greens.
Just imagine, like golf club members just don't change. They turn up, they're like,
Yeah.
What
Why are
is
you not
going
open?
on? I'm not paying my membership fees
Yeah.
to see this fairway ploughed up.
So that was actually the difference between what happened to courses in Britain and what happened to courses in America. So in Britain, the courses were taken over by the military, and the old course of St Andrews, basically, they just didn't look after it for the entire war, and it just kind of was reclaimed by nature. But in the US, the Americans didn't enter the war officially until 1941. So there was, they had done, they had kind of like 3 years of keeping their courses running. But the reason that their courses started to, deteriorate was due to a lack of funding, because all the men who were playing golf suddenly enlisted in the military and left. So Augusta, the famous story about Augusta is that it was forced to close between 1943 and 1945 because there just were no paying members to come and pay because they were all enlisted, and they had cows on the golf course just grazing. Can you imagine?
Natural greenkeeper.
Yeah. Unbelievable. The war took a particularly personal toll on professional golfers, many of whom enlisted or were drafted. Don't even get me started on the draft. I can't imagine anything worse. These men, once revered for their skills on the course, found themselves wielding rifles instead of golf clubs. Henry Cotton, famous British golfer, a 3-time Open champion, joined the Royal Air Force as an instructor, training pilots who would go on to fight in the Battle of Britain. Despite the war years, he continued to promote golf and organised events to boost morale. And Bobby Jones, a legendary amateur golfer, when we're talking about amateur versus pro, Jones famously never turned pro, volunteered to serve as an intelligence officer in the US Army Air Forces. He participated in the Normandy landings on D-Day in 1944, serving on the front lines in a role far removed from his life on the fairways. Can you imagine being a golf fan, seeing the enemy run to... Oh, bloody hell, it's Tiger. What's he doing here? Lots of golfers found their careers on hold. Some returned from the war and resumed playing at a high level. Others permanently affected by, the scarring mentally and physically from being in a war, never recovered their former skill. Which modern day golfers do you think would be the best soldiers?
Jeez.
Harry Hall.
Oh, God.
He kind of
No
looks like
nonsense.
Harry Hall already looks like a lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks tough.
And the name. Like,
Sergeant
Harry Hall.
Admiral Lieutenant Harry Hall.
Lieutenant Harry Hall. Fifth Cavalry.
Keegan Bradley.
Yeah.
Keegan Bradley.
Yeah.
He'd be at the
Captain,
front
yeah.
He'd be,
with the flag.
Him and Patrick Reed just like leading a cavalry of aggressive Americans.
Cavalry, those are the days.
I think John Rahm, if you gave him a sword, would be untouchable. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't see him firing a rifle, but if he had like a sharp Spanish sword,
Yeah.
I feel like you're in trouble.
I'm just trying to think. I'm now going more down on the name route. Of who's there's that.
Is there anyone called Shooter?
There's that German who's like Nikolai von Helsing. I think it was like.
He'd be like a World War One pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sick.
The Red Baron.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of good golfing nicknames, which also would be particularly good for wartime exploits. Anyway, back to the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is still in its infancy as an event. Was scheduled to take place in 1939 at Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida. However, as Britain declared war on Germany in September 1939, it became immediately clear that the competition was not going to take place. The world had more pressing matters than international golf tournaments. Further Ryder Cups scheduled for 41, 43 and 45 were also cancelled, while American and British players occasionally held exhibition matches to support war bonds and charities. The fierce yet friendly competition between the two nations was put on hold. When peace was finally declared in 1945, the world was left to rebuild. Britain, in particular, faced an economic crisis. Cities lay in ruin from the Blitz. Food and material rationing remained in effect. Industries were struggling to regain their footing. The idea of British professional golfers travelling across the Atlantic to compete in a sporting event seemed almost impossible. When golf clubs across Britain, many of which had been used for military purposes, struggled to restore their courses to playable conditions. The once pristine greens of places like Wentworth and Muirfield had been left overgrown. Bunkers had been repurposed as air raid shelters, and funding to restore these clubs was scarce. British golf professionals, many of whom served in the war, returned home to find their sport in decline. But one man saw the Ryder Cup for what it was then, and at least in his opinion, could become once more a hallmark event where the best players in the world compete for something more than money and fame and trophies. The Ryder Cup has, and always will, mean a little bit more. But with the United States winning the majority of the pre-war meetings and the financial and emotional climate facing post-war Britain, something special would have to happen for the professional golfers of Blighty to once again venture across the pond in search of glory. Someone would have to make it happen. And that man's name was Robert Hudson. So we're going to get off Samuel Ryder now. Samuel Ryder has done his job.
He's done his work. Yeah.
Congratulations. Small golf clap for Samuel Ryder. He's dead now.
You're dead.
Unfortunately, he died just before the war. So we didn't have him to come in, swoop in and save the event. We needed someone else. So 1947, Harry Truman is the president. We learned something about Harry Truman. He was the president when?
Well, they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima.
Correct. He was the president during that end of war period. Ben Hogan was emerging as the best golfer in the world, and the Ryder Cup was on life support. It hadn't been played in 10 years. Its future was uncertain. Today, it's difficult to imagine, but 63 years ago, the Ryder Cup was dying for lack of money and enthusiasm. The United States and Great Britain were struggling to regain economic and social balance after World War II. Golf was a fancy dance practiced mostly by the rich. That the Ryder Cup got to Portland Golf Club, or that it was played at all, was a tribute to an uncommon, gritty, golf-loving man whose name was Rob Hudson. Now, Hudson was born in 1887 in Portland. Have you ever been to Portland, Peter?
I have not been to Portland. Charming town, I believe.
Yeah, I feel it kind of feels like wet to me. Is that a thing? Like, it feels like a kind of a British equivalent in America. You know, if you talk about Florida, Florida feels hot to me. California feels hot to me. Texas feels hot to me. Places in that area feel kind of wet. Seattle feels wet. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I won't cast judgment on the local climate without going.
Yes. However, it was a wet Ryder Cup when it finally came back. So yes, Hudson was born in 1887. He began working for a wholesale grocery company at the age of 14. What was your first job? Did you deliver papers?
No, used to run.
We can't have that in the podcast. That will be beeped. Thank you so much. What was your first? Did you have to do a paper round?
I never did a paper round.
Okay.
Never did a paper round. My first job was working on a ice cream van.
No way.
Yeah. So I used to sit in the back, and my boss, I guess, would drive around, and we'd do the same route, like in the summer every day. And music blasts, everyone comes out. I would then pop up, do my bit, go to the next bit, go around, and we'd do all day, work fates. You can book me now. No.
Still available.
Yeah, that was my first job.
Kieran?
It was at a fish and chip shack, and I was also a paper boy as well.
Yeah, I did.
So,
I did the papers.
Yeah.
Yeah, used to work for my dad.
Oh yeah. What did your dad do?
Landscaping.
Oh, sick. Is that why you're so?
Basically, yeah. I've looked like this since I was 14.
Yeah. If I was going to ask someone to dig a ditch, I would ask you to do it.
Yeah.
You got that. You got that girth on you. And at age 19, Hudson became the company's sales manager. In 1907, he founded the Hudson Duncan Company, a wholesale produce packing enterprise. Doesn't sound like the man who's going to take over the golf world, does it?
What is it about putting things in packets that are plants,
Yeah.
whether seeds or fully grown?
Yeah. Hey, listen. It's something about the produce world.
Unbelievable. Who knew?
Yeah. Well, these guys did. In 1944, Hudson established the Portland Open golf tournament with a $10,000 purse. Hudson played in the tournament.
I'm making it.
Shot a 56,
I'm playing it.
surprisingly.
But the prize went to Sam Snead, obviously. Hudson again sponsored the tournament in 1945, where he also played in the tournament. However, Ben Hogan won it. The legendary Ben Hogan shot 65, 69, 63, 64 to win the 1945 Portland Open at Portland Golf Club. And the 63, tied by Dr. Carrie Middlecoff at the Western Open, stands to this day as the course record.
Wow.
He had I don't know if it's here, actually. I don't know if I brought it in. Fantastic book. Carrie Middlecoff.
Really?
It's about just about the golf swing. It's amazing.
Oh, well, it's probably in the other room.
Yeah, it's great.
Probably in the office. Mr. Hogan returned to PGC the following year to capture his first major at the prestigious PGA Championship in 1946. So this golf course has already hosted some huge names and has hosted a major when in 1947, Hudson splashes the cash and steps in to save the Ryder Cup. Could you do an old American man's voice now?
Oh my God. Jeez.
And read this here.
Old man's American voice. He says it there.
Yeah, literally says that, yeah.
So,
Texas Pete or
I don't know.
Carolina Pete?
You got
don't
to do
know.
a real slow country now.
But
you know.
he's like Portland's.
Yeah, that's not what you.
So it's just like got to be like stand rich American, stand rich deep game. Some people put their money into yachts.
He once said.
I put mine into golf.
That's not bad. The return of Carolina Pete.
Still a bit south, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I need to work on my just deep American.
Maybe we need to go to Portland. I would love to go and play this golf course. That'd be
Portland.
Beating the course record that stands for
yeah.
however many years.
Oh God,
78 years.
oh, dude, I
on.
reckon you can shoot 62 around there.
Yeah.
You must be better than
No
me.
one's done it in all this time. And you just rock up on a Wednesday and just like
Do it with a camera rolling.
land, take the red eye straight in.
Good Lord. Yeah. So the reason Hudson didn't win any of the tournaments that he hosted because his handicap never got better than 16.
Oh.
And he's going up against now.
And he was going up against Snead and Hogan and
Okay.
I rate it.
I love this.
Yeah, I
It's
rate
cool,
it.
isn't it?
This is great.
He's like, oh no, you know what? I want to play against all these guys. I want to play against them at my home golf club, and I also am definitely not going to win. Love it. But he did have a passion for the game. He paid all the expenses for the visiting golfers from Great Britain and Ireland in 1947 when the Ryder Cup came back. So if you imagine someone saying, not only are we going to host this tournament, in order to make it happen, we're also going to put your entire team on a boat to New York. I'm going to meet you in New York. We're going to have a all expenses paid dinner at the Waldorf Astoria to welcome you to our country. Then we're going to go on a 3-day train ride, all of us together, to Portland. And then I'm going to pay to put on the event.
It's crazy that.
Well, I mean, it's just, I think, you know, it's amazing with sport. Like you do have governing bodies, but even to this day, like most sport is dependent on some rich person in the background, just like funding it because they love the sport or they want their like business to be advertised. It's kind of weird how it all works like that, and it's still the case.
Yeah, so he paid for housing, he paid for all of their meals, he paid for uniforms, he paid for every single expense for the entire 1947 tournament. Now, Portland Golf Club was designed in 1914 by a group of members, but was then later renovated by Robert Trent Jones. And the format of that Ryder Cup in 1947 was 36-hole foursome alternate shot on the first day and 36-hole single matches on the second day. Judging by what you have just learned about the state of golf in Britain, the state of golf in America, what needed to happen in order for this Ryder Cup to take place, can you give me a guess what you think the score was?
GBI landslide.
Yeah.
No, I imagine it's pretty
There were 12 points up for grabs.
12-0.
I'm going to say, 10-2.
I was going to say 10-2, yeah.
It was 11-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Herman Kaiser lost his single match to drop the only point for the Americans. So imagine being the only person ever. You walk into the dressing room and was like, really? You couldn't have just...
God damn it.
Come on, man. Listen, the American team had Byron Nelson, Sam Snead,
Yeah.
Jimmy Demaret, Lloyd Magnum.
Yeah.
The team was so good that Captain Hogan left himself out of singles and they still won.
That was the point that we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he'd have played himself, it would have been a whitewash.
So what, Hogan was like a player captain?
Playing captain, yeah.
Should
Yeah.
Keegan Bradley
Come on,
in?
Keegan.
Honestly.
Well, part of this episode is that we want you to be able to come back and listen to this again and again and, show people that, this episode is a good history of the Ryder Cup. So either we'll be sat here saying Keegan Bradley should have played himself, or we'll be saying glad Keegan Bradley didn't play himself.
Listen, I quite like Keegan Bradley, but I mean, let's not refer to him in the same breath as Ben Hogan.
Correct.
Right now. Like, in with the greatest respect in the world. I don't think even he would compare himself.
Well, they are both Ryder Cup captains. They have that in common.
True.
Okay, so the Americans win. It's a flaming landslide. The next 3 decades of Ryder Cup golf matches are overwhelmingly one-sided. The United States win every contest from 1947 to 1983, except for a freak British victory in 1957, which everyone discounts. British golfers, constrained by financial hardship and a lack of competitive opportunities, struggled to keep up with the Americans, who enjoyed greater financial backing and access to a wider array of tournaments. So, we get to the 1960s and the 1970s. The Ryder Cup's competitive imbalance led some to question the tournament's future. Should we even be having this tournament if all it is, every single time we do it, the Americans battering Team GB? Critics argued that a match in which one side dominated was losing its appeal. Is anyone going to watch? Is anyone going to want to come and play? It kind of came to a head when one of the American players qualified for the Ryder Cup team and decided not to go so that they could go hunting instead.
Brutal.
With his argument, I'm not going to say who it was, but his argument was that he didn't know when he didn't know when he was going to get to do it again. That's funny.
It's Tom Weiskopf, wasn't it?
It was Tom Weiskopf, yes. He said, I don't know when I'm going to get to go hunting again, so I'll skip the Ryder Cup, which now seems completely absurd, with players barely missing out, crying on television. The passion that the Ryder Cup builds now, you cannot imagine someone making the team and deciding not to go.
It's a weird one, isn't it? If you've been so dominant for so long and you know that you're turning up and you're going to win, like it's not even a doubt, then that's obviously never in a million years would I imagine someone wanting to miss the Ryder Cup, but you could kind of understand how some players on the US team would look at that and be like, this is why are we why are we still doing this?
Yeah. To the point in 83, 85, 87, I think Tony Jacklin is a separate episode. We'll come back and do a Tony Jacklin history. When Tony Jacklin was captain, the first time that when they came to the Belfry in 1985, the Americans still viewed it as a kind of exhibition, and they came over, and for the first time, the crowd really wanted Team Europe at that point to win.
Felt the fire.
And the hostile environment was not something they were expecting. They were expecting to come over, play golf with their friends, who they'd been playing on various tours with over the course of the last 2 years, and have a nice exhibition match. Everyone has a drink off, and we all go home, and we're the winners. And that's not what they got.
Yeah.
It had always been that the Americans thought, oh, this is a lovely little trip where we get to go and win this tournament. And everything started to change when Jacklin came in.
Well, first of all, it was Nicholas, wasn't it? Was it Nicholas who kind of turned around and suggested, like, why don't GB and I become Team Europe?
Correct, yeah. So it was so lopsided that Jack Nicklaus, who was one of the American captains, said to Lord Derby, who was the head of the British PGA at the time, and who basically could ring up the Queen.
Queen on speed dial, yeah.
Which is mad. He said to him, look, this event is going to die if you don't make it more competitive. So why don't you add continental Europe?
Well, he said this to the Queen.
Yeah. Listen, Liz. So you're right. Jack Nicklaus made that happen. And I think, like, in that moment, also set off a chain of events which led to 1987 when Europe win in America for the first time.
It was one of those things where you just have this combination of factors coming, because at the time, within the GB and I team, like, you had Faldo, you had Woosnam, you had Lyle, you had this core of amazing golfers starting to come through, and then all of a sudden you complement that with your Langers, your Sevis, I'll have about slightly later, but like the core of the European team, all of a sudden you've got major champions in there. Yeah. You've got proven tour winners, and it just becomes a completely different event. Yeah. It becomes so much more rounded and so much more competitive. And as kind of Mick mentioned there, as soon as Jacklin comes in, because what Jacklin did, he didn't do anything crazy. All Jacklin did was said, we are going to treat this event like it actually matters. We're going to treat our players like they're a team, and we are going to give them the exact same treatment that the team from America gets. So it's just private jets. Wives and girlfriends come along. They bring their own caddies. As crazy as it seems, before that point, there was no budget to bring their own caddies to the Ryder Cup. So the caddies come, the uniforms come, like they dress them in like cashmere and suits and really up the level of everything. And then all of a sudden, you have a European team full of stars who feel like this is important. Yeah. They feel like this matters, and they've got the best part of 50 years of having their arse handed to them.
Yeah, probably helps. Yeah,
it's almost like it is a kind of small... I feel like you could look at this and say, like, the history of the Ryder Cup and the way that the two teams have viewed it is kind of represented in the way that it still sticks around now, I think, because obviously, like with the American side, you would say they are the side that care slightly less than the Europeans in what was very historical, that they didn't care because they thought they were just going to rock up and win. Whereas the GB and I, now Europe, had to fight and then create something to give them a chance to win, and now they got this chance and they have won. That momentum has kept up in that, like, every time it comes around, they want to keep making sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's almost like the way it used to be is almost still kind of transparent now. Yeah. It's not, obviously not quite the same, but that sort of historical mindset has kind of continued in.
It's kind of like that as well. Like with the Team Europe side, like it kind of feels like, when Medina happened, that was the year that Sebi passed, wasn't it, in 2012?
It was just previously.
Just before, you know. So, like, you're playing for these people. You're not just playing for the Ryder Cup. You're playing for the history of, of Sevi, of Jacklin, all these people that,
Yeah, it was one of the things that Jacklin tried to instill in his players was that, if you think about trying to motivate a team, I really, really do want to do a Jacklin episode because he's one of my favorite Ryder Cup captains and his story is ridiculous. But, if you think about trying to motivate that team, motivating a US team to get behind a team that represents one country seems easy. It's very difficult to get behind the idea of a continent. Like, does telling, Sevi that he's playing for Europe mean anything? Or does telling Sevi that he's playing for the people of Spain really motivate him? So and then also, like, when Jacqueline came in and did all the things he did, it started a trend of European captains doing the same, treating the team as if they are a team and not just a load of individual players who he expects to go out and win, but, motivating them to be together, to hang out, to include the families, to, make it like we are going to take on them, not you're taking on him, you're taking on him. That has continued throughout. Paul McGinley did it. All of the captains since. Luke Donald's doing a great job of it in the time that we're living in now, making them feel like a team. He's picked almost the exactly the same guys to go out and play at Bethpage. I don't think the US captains necessarily worked that out for a long time. There was the pod system.
Yeah.
When was that? Where someone put together teams of 4, like all of the players who were like ultra competitive ass kickers were all in one pod, and all of the kind of like chilled, laid back people were in another pod. And they also, when the captain's picks came up, which America didn't have captain's picks for a very long time, when the captain's picks came up, Stricker asked them who they wanted. Who do you want to be in your pod with you? Like, that team thing just hadn't been an American idea for a long time. And I think the reason that it feels like Europe have been more dominant since is because Team Europe feels like a team, and Team USA, from our perspective, feels like a lot of individuals wearing the same kit.
Like a free pod, so 3 teams within one team sort of thing. Because
yeah. And then you knew who you were going to play with. You were going to play with someone from your pod. And that was.
I don't really need to talk to that pod now.
Honestly, they're on my team. Yeah. But like I've us 4. Imagine if us 4 were playing in a team with other groups. I would want to get put with one of you lot because you're my friends. I know that we would have something together. So that's the thing that the Americans worked out much later than Team Europe did.
I think it becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy sometimes, because everyone who goes on to Team Europe, if you're a rookie, for example, you're almost told, like, you grew up and you grow up with the knowledge that Team Europe, they are more of a team. You told it all the time. It's like more of a team, more of a team, more of a team. So when you go into that environment, you almost expect it, and that, I'm going to be part of this team. And I think the way that European golf is generally structured, certainly from a junior perspective, it's always team matches, it's foursomes, it's full build. It's very much more based around playing together. Whereas kind of the US system is very much based on an individual golfer. And you can't you can't really argue with the approach that the US has taken over the past 50 years, whatever it is, because they've consistently produced the best golfers in the world. And the most major championships, the most tournament wins. They produce an incredible amount of golfers. But when it comes to the Ryder Cup, which is a very different event, that's where the team aspect of Europe seems to shine through a little bit more. But it's kind of funny with the US as well, that they're so dominant in the game normally that when it comes to the Ryder Cup, they're desperate to win.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy for that desperation to kind of lead to cracks if things don't go well. You saw it in Rome. If things don't go your way, it's very easy to start pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a massive Zach Johnson fan, but if you think about the pelters that he got, some deserved, some not. It's simply because they lost.
Yeah. So if you discount, maybe there's an episode here as well, and freak outing in Worksop in England in 1957 when Team Europe did win. Most people do discount it.
Huge.
It would be 40 years before Great Britain, then joined by the rest of continental Europe, would seek success in the Ryder Cup again. In 1987, with Tony Jacqueline at the helm and Severiano Ballesteros as its talisman, Team Europe would win on American soil for the first time since Samuel Ryder's brainchild was born. And I wonder if during those final moments of US dominance, on the green at 18 or in the celebrations afterwards, any of the players or the press, or the fans stopped to thank a grocery store owner from Portland, Maine, the man who saved the Ryder Cup?
Probably not. If we're going to be honest about it, probably not. Was it Muirfield Village, the A7?
It was, yes.
Yeah. On the roof, drinking champagne. I got that image.
Yeah.
Well, that was very good.
Yeah, very, very good.
Well done. And we're going to kind of add to this as well. We're going to have a Ryder Cup preview of what is going to be going on at Bethpage. That's going to be next week.
Correct.
That's going to be next week. And then we're heading to the Ryder Cup as well.
With you two. Do you want to talk about how it got decided? God.
I threw a pool cue into the middle of the lads.
Gonna have tryouts. And
Again,
there's only one position available.
Yeah, and I said it's podcast, so I said like no hitting above the neck, and
Right, yeah. So we're all maimed below the waist.
Yeah.
Right now.
so the reason we're sat there.
No, I will be fortunate enough to be joining Peter on the trip to Bethpage this year. I believe you videoed what happened last night at dinner.
Yeah. It's an 8-minute clip. But it's it was an 8-minute clip.
It will be chopped down and find its way onto the internet at some point in the near future.
There's
But
a lot of
basically,
swearing.
it will need to be chopped. But basically, Pete ran an elimination spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel for the Ryder Cup.
Spin the wheel for the ticket to the Ryder
generator.
Cup. Kieran was already out. Kieran was busy. So it came down to me, Jacob, David, and Sam. David went last year. So, I think David went out first, in fact.
Yeah.
And it came down to me and Jacob. And Jacob's name came up last, which meant that there was a little controversy about whether Jacob was going then or whether Jacob was eliminated then.
I really don't know where this gone from.
Me and Sam were on a wavelength that
You literally spin the wheel. The person who gets picked is eliminated,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it was like the last person. It's like,
That person gets to go. Yeah.
No,
what's
me
going
and Sam were under the same impression that this one that whoever it would land on, it would that would be going.
Yeah.
But that was.
I was under that impression as well.
That was,
So Jacob, unfortunately for him, was eliminated, and I then had to have a very difficult conversation with my wife, whose birthday is the weekend of the Ryder Cup.
So there's still a chance.
And I said,
I'm holding on.
and I said,
I'm in her ear.
I said I love you, and I really want to celebrate your birthday, but we'll do it when I get back from New York.
Wow.
She said, "That's fine."
Yeah.
Do you know what she said? Actually, she said, "Do what you think's best."
No,
No, she didn't.
man.
She didn't. She was very supportive, and she said, "I know that's very exciting, and we'll celebrate my birthday when you're back," which is what we're going to do. But yes, it's very exciting to be going to my first Ryder Cup. Good
So,
Lord.
yeah. That's is that everything?
That's
Are
everything.
we kind of done?
We're done.
Have we explored the history of the Ryder Cup?
We have. I think what we should do is ask people in the comments whether they liked the format. And if they did, we'll try and do some more of these. I would love to get your guys' perspective on a golf event.
Oh, I'd love to do one of these. Yeah.
That'll be so sick. And we'll learn about some stuff together.
Yeah.
So if you liked it, if you thought it was cool, if you learned something, then please put it in the comments below and let us know. Also, if you thought it was trash, keep that to yourself and don't tell us about it.
Give us a shout on live topics as well. If there's something like you want us to do a little bit of a deeper dive, and like I said, we've not really done this kind of episode before, but I think it's something that we should look into a little bit, because it's not just, from our point of view, it's not dependent on what has just happened that week. Yeah, we can actually put a bit of research and a little bit more time into stuff. So get books out.
Oh yeah, this is my reading that I've done. I'm still in the throes of that one particularly. I can recommend. I think it's tough to spread. It's tough, isn't it? Like, we were kind of hoping that Keegan would pick himself because we thought it would weaken the team for this year, but it's.
I actually thought it'd strengthen it.
it would. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting because I think this year, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this year there's more pressure on the captains. Like in terms of like if USA lose, big things on from the US side, from Keegan's side, but then also if Europe lose, looking at was it the right choices? Have we picked the people that are most informed? Do you know what I mean? Like,
honestly, if the US lose this Ryder Cup, the fallout would be spectacular.
Yeah. Do you reckon they asked Luke Donald to go again?
I think he does 3.
You reckon?
I think it's a trilogy. Yeah.
If oh my god, if the US lose, like obviously I want a great competition. I want the match to be close. I want it exciting when we're there. Obviously, I want Europe to win as well. But I'm almost salivating at the prospect of a US loss because the head off that will occur in New York will be amazing.
Heads will roll.
Oh my word!
What would you rather? So would you rather? Obviously, so Team Europe are going to win. What would you rather? Would it rather be a dramatic ending victory, or would you just like a
I say this all the time.
landslide?
I think if you know that you're going to win in a dramatic victory, that's the one. But obviously, if you know it's going to happen, then obviously, but like, if we win on a final singles player on the 18th green, like that will be the best way to win. It is the best way to win.
Yeah.
I think like Rome was an interesting one because there was a few people getting a little bit nervous, but I never felt like Europe were ever going to lose.
Well, there was that point where
The board was very red.
Very, very red.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe it was just me, maybe it's just the gin and tonics, but I was like, I just didn't really...
the Rome air was just doing something to you.
It just didn't feel like that loss was ever going to happen. But what would be ideal is that close match. It comes down to the last. It comes down to the last group.
It's Ryder Cup. You always know there's ebbs and flows every day. You know, a session can start off and it's 4 reds and it flips very quickly. Like it's just the way it goes. So I think if anything, the early red may have been. Obviously they'd say that's kind of the best way to go, but actually it was going to flip at some point, and it doesn't. We didn't need much. We didn't need a lot. So
we'll do the full preview. We'll get into it. We'll get into all our predictions, what we think is going to happen, and we're going to do that the week of the Ryder Cup. So, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. If you are on YouTube, if you haven't checked out the channel, make sure you subscribe and go follow us on all our social medias as well. We've got a Discord link in the description if you want to come join us in the clubhouse and have a more personable chat around a metaphorical campfire. Right, we are off. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See you later.